Hello everybody, welcome to this fabulous Facebook Live. I've got a great show lined up for you. Going to be showing you something that's new, teaching you how to make the most of it, and we're going to be creating some great scenes. But before we do anything, I just want to say a massive thank you. Got the team just bringing me little sneaky peeks of things that I want to be able to share with you. So first of all, a hello to all of you. We're going to be doing these regularly. We want to try and teach you as much as possible. And I'm just going to share with you something that we haven't properly announced yet. But from next year, here at Highlight Crafts, we are going to be opening our training academy, our training school. And it's been a lifelong dream of mine to be able to do this. Not only are we going to have face-to-face classes, but we're going to build on the Zoom classes that we're doing. We're going to be doing retreats. You'll be able to come for a couple of hours or for a couple of days. We're going to announce the program for next year in the next few weeks. So we are having purpose-built spaces put together so that we can do soft crafts, we can do paint and upcycling and DIY and flower painting and cute critters and all the Cadence products. Then we're also going to have an area for scan and cut. Mel is going to be doing loads of fabulous education for scan and cut. And then soft crafts. So we've got soft crafts, paper crafts, paint, and all of those fabulous things. And we're just going to become this huge company of creativity. And I can't wait to share with you. For people who can't travel, we'll be recording things and just sharing more and more with you. But to be able to make sure that you keep up to date with all of it, please do visit the Highlight Crafts website and make sure that you are on our database, because if you want to be first to book any of these classes, that's where you're going to need to be. So highlightcrafts.com, go there so that you can get updates of all the events that are coming up for the rest of this year and next year, and we'll keep you up to date with what's going on. So a few hellos, everybody. So Naomi, hello to you. Carol, it's great to hear from you. Angela, Claire, we've got Christine in here as well. And Elizabeth, I should have bought my glasses. Loads of you watching. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, pop your questions in there as well. So this collection's called Summer Afternoon. And it is super cute because it's given us a chance to do something that suits that nature. So no people, still no people, won't see people into Red Robins, but we have got a float, a boat. Oh, can I just tell you, I once sunk a boat. I know it's hard. I sunk a boat. Andrew, our producer's just gone, you sunk a boat. It wasn't a barge, it was just a dinghy, but it did sink deep and they did have to get a couple of divers to go and get it up. And I was about 15 at the time and mortified. Anyway, that was just a little story for you. By the river is our pub, and look at this. How cute is that pub? This is one of our nested image dies. So you've got this in lots of different sizes. In fact, let me share that with you. So I'll open this little bundle so we can look at what we're going to be working with today and inspiring everybody. So there's our By the River. They're all the different size dies that you get, loads and loads of those. And guess what? This one is actually $15.99. Is it really? How have we done that for that price? $15.99, guys, if anybody is interested there. The next one, we have got a float. This is the boat that we talked about before. That works at £14.39. And then Little Thieves, which isn't this fab? These are our seagulls. They're called Little Thieves because they love, actually, whipping people's chips. If you've ever been to the seaside, if you've got a story about a seagull, please share it with us. And you've got 6 different dies and then the outline dies as well. The pub was actually $19.99 down to $15.99. No, it is $19.99. I've got a $15.99. Oh, apparently I'm being told off. I've got the wrong price. Okay, guys, doesn't matter. What's all about is the education. So let's take a look at what I've got here. So here we've got an aperture, and that aperture is actually being used with elements over it. So the bird's wings are coming over the edge of the aperture. The boat is coming over the edge of the aperture. In its own right, sitting there over that design, two boats next to each other, so you can see there, or literally coming up here, it makes a great design. But then, opening up the design, you can see there is the pub and everything together. And isn't it great the way you can see that dimension? And look at the seagulls. These little seagulls you can see up here are what makes all the difference. Now, those prices I was talking to, they are right if you're a Robin's Nest member. So I've got the lovely Ethan is just bringing me a few more little die cuts because I didn't quite get enough done. Thank you, Ethan. He's a superstar and he's one of my favourites. He's just gone outside with a lovely smile on his face. He's such a nice lad. This is one that I absolutely love. This is one from Steve. So the birds are coming over the edges. The canal boat, as you can see, is moving through the water. But as I open it up, you've got the barges or the boats actually moored up to the landing. And then all the little seagulls there. And I love the way these are all lined up. And you can see them all in a row. And they do stand like that quite regularly. Then I'm just going to show you a couple more. So going into all the backgrounds that you already have in your stash, backgrounds that are on your USBs, backgrounds that are in the paper packs, and then putting in these other elements. Now, those lovely little daisies that we've got here are actually called a spot of yellow, and got a really good deal on this because if you're in the club, these are only £3.35. So this set, £3.35, and that's if you're a Robin's Nest member. And for anybody else, that's just £4.19. You'll recognise this lilac. We've had this in a few of the shows, but we've actually picked up the colours from the backgrounds. And this boat, single layer at the back, second layer here, third layer to the front. So you are getting 3 layers when you look into it. 3 layers, including all those elements of decoupage, which you can see right there. So big thank you to Louise for that. Love this. This is clever card making. So we've got our seagulls are on a little piece of acetate, or were, sorry, that one's just flown away. So I'll just tuck him. Actually, no, he's flown away. He flew away. And this is our pub. And it's been layered up to get more dimension to it. Clever way of doing this. I'm going to show you how to do that decoupage. I'm just going to lift this forward. So again, you can start to see into those layers. So that's another one that you've got there. That was one of Steve's. This is a clever one. You've got actually the grapes coming down, the wine. Obviously, the focus here is on a day out and having all of that detail just framing the design. So a big thank you for Louise for that one. Oh, clever design here. Claire, I think it was, a seagull ate your sandwich, didn't it? Oh, lives by the sea. Started to open it and the seagull came along and swiped it. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Do you know, I've got to just tell you this quickly, I promise. I'll add a bit of time on at the end because I need to tell you this. So, Bert and Elsie, I'm sure it was Bert. Yeah, it was. And Elsie were my husband's great grandparents. Is that right? Great grandparents. Yes, I think that's right. Grandparents, mum and dad. Might have been grandparents. No, I'm sure it's great grandparents. They were at the seaside, walking along the seafront, and all happily. And I think there's a photograph of them as well, flat caps, and you know those beautiful old-fashioned when they used to walk down the promenade. And Bert used to wear glasses, so I don't know why I'm covering my eyes. He used to wear glasses. He's walking along the seafront, and they're holding hands, and suddenly he stops dead and goes, Elsie, Elsie, Elsie. And she goes, what's the matter? He goes, I've gone blind. And he's rubbing his glasses, and a seagull had pooped behind his glasses and obviously made them go all cloudy, and he actually thought he couldn't see. Now, I'd only known Carl a very short amount of time where he told me that, and every time, for weeks afterwards, every time I saw him, I was like, tell me the seagull story again, like children do, just wanting to hear just stories. So anyway, we were once in the car. This is how good seagulls are. We were in a car driving towards Hunstanton. I remember it really vividly. My mum, bless her, was actually sitting in the back of the car and I was in the front. Dad was driving. We'd got the roof open. Can you remember those roofs that had, you just came open a little bit, not a full pulled back? It was quite, this was, must have been 30 years ago. And a seagull did a poo in the, and while it was flying, it went in the roof and landed right on my mum's nose. And again, you know, you go to wipe it off and it just smudges everywhere, didn't it? That, I bet you, you couldn't win a lottery. Well, you could win a lottery more easily than making that happen. And I'm really sorry if I've offended anybody. But if you've ever seen seagulls, that does happen. This is a clever one here. And, oh no, has everybody just left us? Because I'm telling seagull stories. I'm sorry, I won't, I promise I'll work. So what I want to show you here is this is a piece of printed acetate. So it's a printed background. And if I run my finger behind the barge, you can see where I get to here, there, where it fades away. And I'm just going to open this up and let you see what this looks like there. Now, a couple of different ways of doing this. You can print it onto a piece of acetate. You can colour it with your marker pens, just brushing it across. You can sponge it on, you can spritz it. Then you need your construction acetate in the middle to support the whole thing. But that's one of Louise's ideas. And then I want to show you this one, because this is the lovely Amanda. And so, first of all, these are actually going really, really quickly, because look at the froth and the foam that you've got from, which way do I want to go? That way? That way. Okay, so the froth and the foam is on the bottom where, and that's actually just a puff gel. Then this is resin. So Amanda's used resin and she's made just a box frame. Actually got a little bit of leakage there, so probably needs another piece underneath. But actually has made this into a proper scene. And how much fun is that? Just great, great fun. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. And I've got everything here ready to go. So first of all, I want to just talk to you about the barge, because we can layer this up and get some really clever effects. So first of all, we're going to look at where we're going to cut. So I'm actually going to cut in here, just along this area there. And I'm going to go up round that part. And I'm going to do a couple of little cuts. And I'm going to go in here, just there. And I'm going to take out that window. So I'm just going to make sure I am just going to very quickly get myself my proper craft knife, because that one's blunt. as a old butter knife. Just see what I've done with that. I might need Andrew to just tell the team I need a new blade. I've got the blades, but not the actual knife. Sorry guys, I'll get one in a second. So while we're waiting for that to happen, I'll start to work on this little piece. So this is actually going to get some dimension, and I'm going to lift this up. Now, the one that I showed you, where there are actually 3 layers to it, we've got 3 cuts that created those 3 layers. I want to show you how to get the look and feel of it by using 2 cuts. So first of all, I'm working with the boat. This one's called Afloat, and it's $14.39 for club members, for our Red Robin Club. Then I've got By the River. That's actually the pub or the house, and that one is $15.99 if you're a member of Two Red Robins. Then Little Thieves are our birds, and that's $7.99. And I've also got a couple of other dies that I'm working with, which is Above the Water and Corn Dog. And massive thank you to Amanda, who has just popped in for a moment. So let me just show you how I'm going to do this cutting. So I'm just going into the little window that I've got, and you'll notice that I'm turning my work and keeping the blade inside that piece. I'm just going to take that little corner out there. So that's the first one. The second one I've already started to cut with my blunt craft knife. I'm going to go in here, and then I'm coming round, and that should be that one. And I'll show you a little trick as well in a second to get the little areas that I want to get smooth. I'm just going to make sure I've gone up there. Where are you? What's not coming clear? Whoops. Oh, lost that for a second. There. And that isn't really crisp and clean, but I'm going to leave it because I want to show you another little thing I can do. And this one, I'm going to just cut in a cross. Hi, Simon. Right, so look at this. It looks ropey, doesn't it? It really doesn't look like it's crisp and clean. So we need to look at what we can do to make this and put it right. And the first thing you need is something that will go inside it. So I'm actually a ball tool, a round tool. That one's a little bit too big, so I'm using the wrong side of my craft knife. And what I'm doing is I'm just using this part of the knife handle like that, and I'm just going to put this on the top so it's nice and safe, like that. And you can see how it is actually taking in the edges and making them nice and smooth. I've got a little bit there that I just want to do. So look at how clean that one is. Right, now let's do this next one. So I'm just going to do the same there, and then I'm going to come up to the top and do the same there. This one is worse, so I need to be really thinking about getting that part of it in there. And this one, again, I'm coming into that bit. I'm just going to get that bit neat. I've got a tiny little bit, and I could go back in with my craft knife, but just giving you some other options of things that you could do if this happens to you. And then on this one, I've just cut 4 little crosses. And what I do there is pull that piece back, fold that piece back, fold that piece back, and fold that one back. And what you can do is just give yourself an opening that has got folded edges and can be quite neat. So I've got, let's go back in here and just get these little pips. That's actually the top of the window, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to leave that part there, just get out those few fibres that I've got on here. I do miss when I'm not working on a glass mat, everybody. That's a good reason why, if you have problems and you get little fibres like I've just been having, get a glass mat because it makes a difference. Right, now, I'm going to put this on top of this part of the design, and that's going to be part of my dimension and my window. I'm not happy with, and this is one of the things that's important about these classes, I'm not happy with the results that I've got here. So I'm going to show you another little trick. I'm going to go into the edge there. I'm going to come inside here, and I'm going to trim that edge. Just going to come right round here. Don't think I got the result I wanted by just actually pushing against the fibres and pushing them underneath. Don't think it gave me the clean edge I really wanted. And, you know, you should never be worried about feeling like you need to go back and make changes. And also, as a crafter, don't be concerned if you feel you've got to, you know, I don't want to feel bad as a professional crafter having to say to you, look, I've made a mistake. What I want to do is say to you, this is how we put it right. And by putting it right, you're going to get a much better result. And I think that's what's going to happen just here. So you'll see I've got some little bits where I've actually got little tiny tears in there. Not worrying about that. All I'm worrying about is what's the overall finish going to look like. Making sure, even with these super big scissors, I'm still getting into these corners and getting those bits out, which we've got. That's a lot better there. I'm going to do the same on this one as well. And I'm not going to just apologise for a moment, guys, that this has taken me a minute to put right, but I think it's important that I've tried both those other methods, and I really don't think we got the result that we should want there and here. I'm going to go back into that cross that I cut because, again, I wasn't happy with the result, and I think we'll get something that will be a lot better here. Right, let's see what this looks like. This is looking good. Okay, so I need to bring that bit of fibre over the top and that bit over the top there. And I think we can make that work now. Much, much better, much more precise, much more professional looking. Okay, so we're going to use our glue stick applicator. So what did I just learn from that to share with you? Well, first of all, definitely with a blunt knife, you're not going to get the best results. Second thing is missing your glass cutting mat. So something that you used to working with and didn't feel that you had as a product to be able to work with. So definitely think I missed out there. And also how we put something right. And I think the results that I've now got are much more acceptable. So I'm going to take this red liner tape all the way along the bottom of those panels because they're where I cut into them. So I'm making sure that they don't move when I've got my glue gel on. So I'm just looking at that, checking that it's not going to move. And I think I can be happy with it. I've got one piece that hasn't quite stuck, so I'm going to need an extra little bit of glue to take that, and in fact, let's see if I can get it to catch there. Not quite. So rather than rush it, and don't forget, if you watched my painting class last night, everybody, I'm picking a winner at 5 o'clock. I'm going to be sending not just the actual painting elements. No, it wasn't painting. It was my Tattered Lace magazine. I'm going to be sending somebody a great prize. Right, so push the glue out. And then, and we don't forget we've got our free painting class every month. So I'm going in here. I'm going in here. And what you'll notice, bigger blobs to the front. smaller ones to the back, and up here I want to support that area and support there. That should be enough. So let's pop this on now, line it all up. And one of the other things that you can do is, and I'll just show you as a temporary thing, take a little bit, oh, that's quite long enough. I've got a piece of acetate here, and I'm just going to lift that off like that. There it is. I'm just going to place that there. And I've just put little glass windows in. So you can now see that acetate and how it's actually created a little glass window. And then to get the dimension that we need on the barge, I'm going to take a piece of foam, and I've doubled over that foam, using my fingers to hold it all together, taking the tape, and that is going to sit round here. So that's bringing the barge up to the barge bottom up to the same height as the top. And then if I take the bottom, where have I lost? What have I done with that? Oh, it's here. What I'm going to do now is just tease in those edges there, like that. So apologies to everybody who saw our little false start with the windows. I think it was, probably should have just checked my craft knife beforehand. And you can see how I've just turned that edge. And now by putting it on there, not quite high enough. So next part, tiniest little bit of the glue here. And I'm putting it on as a blob, but I'm going to use it and because I've got a little bit of space each side, it's not going to push out the top of this panel, but I can just push that down until I've got it in exactly the right place. So what I've got now is I've got windows, which you can hear. I've got a gap between the back of the boat, or the inside of the boat, and the edge of the boat. So I've got some dimension. And I've also got my boat panel so that it's the right distance. And that foam, actually, by putting the foam inside there, everybody, like that, it stops the glue when you put this to one side just squashing and going flat. So it gives us that extra little bit of dimension. And then finally, the last thing that I'm going to do is take my wet glue. So my glue, this is bookbinding glue, and I put a tiny little bit of it at the end. And what we do there is we just catch these pieces so that I'm just going to hold that down so that as the boat's moving through the water, the back of it doesn't look like it's pushing out. It looks like it's actually getting closer together. So we've got that effect coming through. Okay, so that's our boat. I'm just going to go into my houses that I've got. This is my house that's been converted into a little pub. Looks fab, but I can do something that's a little bit clever. Let's just make sure I've got two the same size, because they don't look like they're the same size here. So where are you? Houses. Do I need it same time? No, I can do it with this actually. So I'm just going to take this part of the pub like that. So that's my first part of it. And I'm going to pop you, I'm going to mix it onto this one and make it look like the pub has got a double roof. So to do that, it's this part at the bottom I'm lining up. I need to make sure that that lines up like that. So I look like I've now got two lots. So if I let me move it out of the way so you can see the difference. There it is as one. Here's the second one. I'm lining up the bottom, lining it up through here. So we now look like we've got an extra building, and this one is actually standing out. So the way to make it stand out, so two separate proportions, the way to make this stand out properly is foam there, foam across there in the middle, and I'm going to put a tiny little bit at the top as well. So I'm going to take that all off there. Sorry about the mess of my table. Right, so remember, I've got to make sure that that doesn't somehow get stuck with that bit, because that just looks wrong. I've got to get this lined up with the bottom, which is about there. And then that looks like we've got a double chimney. This looks like it's an extension on the house, and that gives us everything all lined up. To correct this bottom panel, all I'm going to do is take my scissors and go along the edge so that that's all together. And now I've given my pub an extension. So you can see I've got that extra layer in there. And these were two different sizes. So that's given us an extra look and feel. I've now got this. So let me get this piece of white paper and hopefully this will show it up a bit better. So what I've got here is an extension arm. It's a bit like a side stepper. So an extension arm, then I've got the main body, then I've actually got a platform that you can see there, and then the back of it. So from here to here is about 3.5 centimetres. Let me just double check that for you. No, I'm wrong, it's 4.5. So that's 4.5, then 2, then 4.5 more, and I've got another 4.5 or 4 centimetres as an extension. So that shows you that whole piece. It now will stand up really well and vertically like that. So, or if I just turn it upside down, sideways, so you can see what I'm working with. And what I've done is I've given myself extra space to be able to build my design. So first of all, I'm just going to put the actual pub. I'm actually going to put the pub, let's just think about where this is going to go. Yeah, I am going to put it to the front, and look at how easily that just holds its position. So I'm going to use foam for speed. No, I'm not. I'm going to do this properly. I'm going to use my red liner tape. So I would take a piece of red liner and take it right along the bottom like that. Thank you to everybody who has just been, who's joined us. And I've got this lovely bundle for you that's just £31.99. And then I got the guys to do some really good deals on some extra dies if you don't already have them. So I've got 2 parallel lines of my red tape. That's the start of the story. And my house is going to go just there with me running my finger along the bottom so that it's nice and sharp. And we'll get Andrew to just show us that. And I wanted this to be stood perfectly upright. Now, the reason that I've done that I've done the stand like I've done here, is because if I did it as a piece like this, so that shape, what happens is it changes the angle of the house, and the house has to lean. So because I want it to be vertical, because it's a building, so let me just show you what happens when I lean it. Can you just see how different those two look? And So that's why I've chosen to do this one with our bridge. That makes all the difference and makes it stand up. How does it go through the post? Well, this just folds up flat like that. So pushes down and then folds up flat. So really easy to do. And that gives us that dimension. The other thing that this does is it gives us another area for us to be able to attach our seagulls. So I've got a little piece of my acetate, which is here. So just a small strip, and I'll just trim that off. And we need some glue. So we've got a couple of different pieces and places that I'm going to do it. So the object of the exercise with this is to try and get us to have different ways of thinking about dimension. So that's the first piece that I need, and it's on that side. I'm now going to turn this over, and I'm going to put another piece just there, and another piece about here. And I'll just pop that on like that. So the way that this works, this piece on the back comes off first, and it comes onto this piece of acetate here. So it's going to stick there, okay? Then this one is going to come forward. Just going to get it, so just need to lift this up a tiny little bit. I'll just lift that tiny bit. And that one is going to come forward and then again. So I've got a nice bit of shaping, and my first bit I'm just going to move a little bit forward. So that's the first place that I'm going to go. So a little bit of a crease, so I've got it shaped. And my seagull, my first seagull, is going to go there. My second seagull is going to go here. Oops, I didn't press him down far enough. Let me get him up here. Let's put, yeah, I'll put you there. And this one up here. Wow, I'm not convinced that that piece of acetate's quite long enough. Might not be. Let's see. Yeah, I'm happy with the first one, but not the second. So I'm just going to take that one out and leave him, and I'll put another piece of acetate in. So we're going to leave him where he is. Yes, he looks great. Look at that. So he's actually, there he is, stood up vertically, because remember the house needs to be vertical. This one, instead of having him from the top, I'm going to take him with another piece, and got that there, and he is going to go this way. Let's have a look where you're going to go. Oh, he's nose diving. Blinking heck. That's it. This one is going to go right here. Gosh, guys, I've got to say, I don't think I'm going to win any prizes today. I'm not convinced. Andrew says I might, but I don't think I will. Right, so how do I get this to be in front of here with this piece of acetate not sticking it to the front? So I'm going to fold my acetate at an angle like that, so it can go into that corner that I've got there. So he can look like he's about to fly across the front and settle where we want him. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'll just get that little bit of tape, hold it in place, and whoops, there, and pop it there. So let's go under here, pop him behind the pub. So make sure he's up there, get him to stick and then trim off that little bit of excess there. So there he is. So I've now got my little seagulls are flying, and you know how they all circle round when there's something going on or they can see food? That's the effect that I wanted to get. Not them actually, poor little things, just had a bit of a accident. He's just flown off. Got to get you there. Here we go. Okay, so what's just happened is I cut the glue too fine. So I've just folded up my acetate a tiny bit more so it touches that piece of glue more evenly. Right, there we go. It's touched. Do you know some days when nothing goes right? If you are watching me for the very first time, will you actually let me know so I can send you a video of one I did right? Because this feels very ham-fisted. Andrew just said to me, "Oh, why are you all stressed? They just look like they're kissing." That is not what this is meant to look like. Can we make sure this video is only available for the duration of while you're watching it live? Because I can't let you see this again. Right, I've got to use my flowers because poor old Ethan brought them in. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Shall I just put he's taking a bouquet to his missus. Look at this. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. Oh dear, I promise I haven't had a gin, but I need one. Oh dear, this is like, I could just imagine Carl coming in with flowers in his beak. He hasn't got a beak, so that's not going to happen. Oh gosh, I love my job. So, going to make a little mini bouquet of flowers. Seriously, is anybody watching for the first time? Because honestly, I can craft. I know I look like I can't. Oh, I've got to go out and face Mel Heaton as well. I hope she's not watching. Oh, Mel's. Look, I've made a nice little bouquet though. So, no, it's so heavy. He's got his nose buried in the flowers, which he's taken to his mate. Why would you ever want to send a card like this to anybody? Oh, gosh. Andrew, has anybody said they're watching for the first time? Thank goodness. Somebody's just said, it's good I'm making mistakes because you learn a lot. Yeah. Oh, Christine, you are too kind. Honestly, I tell you what, you know sometimes why when you need gin. Right, I'm using a big hat pin to unblock my bookbinding glue. And I'm just going to pop that there. So I'm coming to, I do think that looks weird, but I'm not changing it because that's part of what we're doing. Then I've got another one that can go right back there. So let's get that stuck. And that one. So we've got to write a little story about the Battle of the Seagulls. Just for a bunch of flowers. No, they're mine. No, they're yours. Right, I need to get this to be dimensional. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at my flower heads and looking at where I can add some dimension. So the obvious place is those two big flowers. So let's get a blob of each of the glues on each flower head, which I've managed to do. And then that is just going to lay like that. Don't press down too hard, and you've got to let it dry, because when it dries, the glue won't come through the back and it'll give you that bit of extra dimension. I'll just show you it. Oh, look, you can all see my roots. You can see there that extra little bit of dimension. I've got to do something about this Battle of the Seagulls, haven't I? No, I think I should keep them there. Andrew's saying, why don't you bend one? I don't think I can. I don't think that's going to work. Oh, that works. That's a nice little bit. Now it looks like he's like, I think he's proposing. Nah, I still don't think it looks right. I'm going to take him off. I'm going to take him off. And do you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to take all those off, and I'm going to take some little seagulls, little tiny ones, and I'm going to do what you guys always tell me I need to do more of, and that's keep it in proportion. And I'm going to fill it with these little seagulls. But to be fair, we do like Godzilla. Is that one flying upside down? No. Oops. It's just falling off. There. I like the fact that we can do this. And you know what? There are no rules. We can have whatever we like. We can have giant seagulls if we want to. I just find some more little ones. Yeah, I've got some more little ones here. And I've got this one. Yeah, I've got one more. And he is going to be flying here. Tiny little dot. He's just flying past. There. So we've got seagulls now that are the right size. Mind you, they are quite meaty in size, aren't they? Some seagulls, they're huge. Right, okay, let's move all this out the way. So let's have a look at now. This is looking better. If you've only just ignore the last half an hour and just look at this bit. So I have rescued it, I think. We've learned how to use the dimension of the other elements to get in the design, which we've done here. We've actually managed to get our flowers to all line up, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue just there where you saw that go. I'm going to hold that down, so I'm strengthened that back piece. You can see that's strengthened, and this piece of acetate didn't go to waste. And in fact, if I look at it from the side, having it with this return on it just there actually makes all the difference and strengthens it. So out of adversity comes something that actually I think I could be quite proud of. So yeah, that looks good. Now I'll show that to you guys, and let me see if I can find a boat that could just be chugging along the bottom. Let's just see if that one's going to fit. Maybe that one's too big. Go a bit smaller. Let's go with this one. Actually, yeah, actually, maybe that one. I think we need to have it sort of about there, don't we? That's where it needs to go. Right, so to do that, we need to make ourselves a little stand. So we'll do that. So front, and that first crease needs to be the height of the boat, which will be about there. So that's the first one. Then a tiny little stand to the thing, and then a bit here. Oh dear. Oh God, imagine if this was my first job interview for crafting. Apparently I've rescued it, so I'd pass, but I'm not convinced. I just got asked, that's not fair. I got asked, would I hire me after that demonstration? It looks like I'm going to the job centre. He said, I've stuck with it. I haven't got a choice. I'm in this room all by myself. And imagine what would happen if I just stood up and walked out. If do you know what happened? They'd come and fetch me. They'd come and get me back. And apparently Andrew would just say goodbye and leave me. There we go. I've gone. No, I haven't gone. I'm not that. I've got more, I was going to say I've got more brains than that. No, I've got more guts than that. Oh, Carol attacked me for the fun. I can be expensive. The gin, do you know, the cost of living's going up. It's quite worrying. Gin hasn't gone up at all. I don't know how, but, and Carl has got a rectifying license so we can make it. So he's got this gin called Naughty Vicar, which I have to say is rather nice. Right, so this looks good. I'm nearly there, but my boat isn't flat. It's not grounded, so I need to ground this boat. So I'm going to have to find some foliage to be able to make that happen. So I'm just going to use this greenery that I've got here, and I'm going to layer. So what I've done is I've taken one piece and I've snipped through here, just there, and this one is above the water, I think. And then I'm putting that one in front of the one that I've got. So I've got the two of them together. I'm going to use a little bit of glue, just line this up. Oh gosh. Okay guys, so let me just, if you want to be able to make amazing projects like this one, you're going to need the boat, you'll need the river, and which is the house, and you'll also need Little Thieves, which I actually think is probably one of the most fun things we've done. And we have got this in a bundle. And can you see, I'm just bringing this to the front and I'm lining it all up so that I can make it look like it's meant to be there. And actually, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to use some pin flare, because this will just give us a little bit of depth from the actual boat. So let me make sure I've got that glue in the right place, just there. Okay, let's take a look at that. Right. Okay, now I'm less embarrassed. So let's look at that. So we've got, let me move all this here. So we've got our boat and our reeds. We've got the pub in the background. We've got the flowers. We've got our little seagulls. We've got a little bit of construction, but it all folds flat to go in the envelope. And on top of all of that, I've created some extra layers. I feel like I'd like to extend this a little bit more. So these reeds come in different sizes, and I've got some tiny ones just here. So let's start to put a little bit of that on here. Now, there's a link in the Facebook Live description, and it takes you to the web pages and where we've got all the different dies and the reflections. And then we're not going to be too long before we're back on Create and Craft with our next collection. But in between, we'll keep bringing you lots of ideas and inspiration, so you can keep joining. So I've added a bit more of the greenery, so I'm bringing that in. So starting to make sure everything is joined up, so I'm just lining that up. Checking that piece because that should have stuck. Check it to the front. Okay. So I've got all of this going on. And so that it looks like the barge is going from between a sort of canal, I might even be tempted to put a little bit more greenery just here. Now, considering about 20 minutes ago, the dove was in danger of crash landing because of the weight of its flowers, was being met by and Godzilla, who didn't know who to propose to first. And if they if imagine a seagull, Andrew, you are going to have to delete this one because this is it's so inappropriate. Imagine if a seagull that was that big compared to a house that big had pooped. It would be like a splat. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. Oh dear. Oh, yeah. I think I'm laughing out of embarrassment. I'll tell you what, everyone. I think I should just congratulate the design team and retire and promote some of these because they've done a much better job than I have. Amanda, you're amazing. Louise, a fantastic job. I'm sure Kath has done this is fab. Look at this one. How fab is that? I mean, all in proportion. And then, of course, the lovely Steve's done some for us as well. Oh, my gosh. Oh, dear. Who said they can't delete it? Just so you can all just take the mickey out of me. Oh, God. Yeah, I think we better wrap up. Oh gosh, do you know none of the team would do this because they're all much more professional. I promise next time I'll be good. I'm back at 5. Right, I better get some prep done, hadn't I? Because I'm using my Pro Cut and Lynn, and they're coming back in stock in a little while. So I've got that, but these will work on any of your machines, but keep an eye out if you need to. I'm so sorry, guys. You've been amazing. I promise I'll be serious at 5 o'clock and show you some more ideas with things that you can do. Don't forget, go to the website, go to get your collection, all your individuals. And in the meantime, I'll see you all soon. And I don't know how to thank you because you're all just so lovely. Thank you, everyone. See you all soon.